The first quarterback that we're going to be talking about is Michael Penix Jr. of number 5 ranked Washington. Beat Oregon 36-33, and Penix went 22 for 37 with 307 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception that wasn't on him. The receiver fell down. Leading receiver was Romeo Odunze, 8 catches, 128 yards, 2 touchdowns, and Jalen Polk was behind him with 6 catches for 118 yards and 1 touchdown. This upcoming week, Penix Jr. is going to be going up against Arizona State, so not a ranked opponent. Maybe you don't put as much draft stock in this game as you did last week, but what are your thoughts on both how he performed and what he's got coming up?
Yeah, I mean, he was awesome. And you mentioned some of these guys going head-to-head, and we'll talk about Bo Nix as well. But I think the big thing for me is the defense they're facing. And Oregon came in against some good opponents, having already faced some good opponents. 5th-ranked defense in the nation in terms of scoring, 5th-ranked defense in the nation in terms of passing yards against. And Penix kind of carved them up. Now, Rome Odunze, who you mentioned, was a big part of it. I think my biggest takeaway from this game was Odunze was the best player on the field. And I think there's a real argument to be made in what's a very good wide receiver class. There's an argument to be made that he's the 2nd best receiver in this class behind Marvin Harrison Jr. Nobody's catching MHJ. That's just not going to happen. But as for Penix, I think this game was a great example of what he does well. Very good pocket presence. He will throw into the blitz. He's not afraid to take a hit to get rid of the football and make a play. Outstanding arm talent. He's putting the ball on receivers down the field, all over the field. He'll throw in the middle. He'll throw to the numbers. He'll throw to the sidelines. He can do all of that. So I think you saw him check just about every box you would want him to realistically check in this game. To me, right now, there's 3 quarterbacks that are first-round locks. Caleb Williams, obviously, who we'll get to. Drake May, who we'll get to. Michael Penix in a game like this, that he played like a first-round quarterback. I know one of the big knocks on, I mean, there's 2. The injury history is an issue. I'm comfortable with it. You're never going to have a perfect prospect. The other one's his age. He's going to be 24 years old. I think he turns 24 the week after the draft next year. He'll be 24 by the time his rookie training camp starts. That's old. That's old for a rookie, especially a quarterback. But when you look at a guy, and yes, I hate that I'm saying 24 is old, but
that's a sport.
It's the sport. That's right. When you have a guy like that, the question is, like, here's the big difference to me. One of the big differences between him and Nix, because Nix will also be 24 years old when camp starts. Bo Nix needs to be better. He's good, but for him to be an NFL quarterback, he needs to grow in areas that you maybe don't grow at 24 years old. I'm pretty comfortable where Michael Penix is right now. I don't know that you're looking necessarily too much towards his ceiling. I think his floor is on par with a guy like Drake May. Williams is a little bit better, but I think his floor is on par with a guy like Drake May. The difference is Drake May's 21 years old, and he's just going to grow a little bit more physically, whereas Michael Penix is probably maxed out. He's in a good spot physically. People are going to hear that and say, oh, the high floor quarterback, that was Mac Jones. No, this is a little different. Penix still brings some of that physical element, some of that arm talent that Mac Jones didn't have. I like him better as a prospect than I liked Mac Jones as a prospect coming out, but he kind of showed in that game. Again, the throws he was making, he's making NFL throws in that game where I see him and I say, okay, I get that maybe his ceiling's a little limited at 24, but if Drake May, Caleb Williams are off the board, no, this is a guy I'm comfortable taking in the first round because he's going to be able to step in, I think, week 1 and make plays at the NFL level.
Absolutely. And the age doesn't scare me as much because, one, he's not a quarterback that relies on his athleticism. He's a pocket guy where as long as you keep him healthy, you should be okay. And I think the better way to think about age in the NFL, and at the same time, like a guy 21 versus 24 is significant, but you're still going to get him for 2-3 contracts if he's your franchise guy and you want to keep him around, because quarterbacks are playing well into their mid-30s. So it's not like as scary as, okay, this guy's going to be gone after his first, maybe halfway through his second deal. I think he's in a pretty good position as long as, this is the other thing where, like, Penix Jr. is somebody that you put him on the Patriots, I think they look a lot different to a degree, but at the same time, he's someone that you're going to have to support because one, like you mentioned, the injury history, you got to make sure this isn't someone who's taken big hits like we saw Mac Jones take throughout last year that now he's afraid of taking this year.
Right.
And you saw what he could do with those outstanding talents on the outside. Like if you surround this guy with talent, yeah, you got yourself a potential playoff quarterback, maybe a Pro Bowl quarterback. But at the same time, it kind of brings, if you're looking at this from a Patriots perspective, brings it back to, all right, but if he's the guy that you're picking top off the board, then you better have done some real good work in free agency to make sure that he's protected and has at least one guy that he can really grow with.
The CLNS Media Network is powered by FanDuel. Sign up at FanDuel.com/Boston and get in on the action with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose.
I will say this about Penix. You talk about, you don't need to worry as much about, him aging with his mobility. He used to be a runner. He was.
Right.
He tore his ACL twice when he was at Indiana, 2018, 2020, and he kind of just stopped. He can still make plays with his legs if he needs to. He doesn't, and it's probably for the best he doesn't, but look, and even like, the ACL definitely cut in his mobility a little bit. I don't think he's a guy you're ever going to design runs for.
Right.
But
like a Dak Prescott type.
Right. Yeah. It's funny. It's been really tough trying to come up with a comp for Michael Penix. I feel kind of good about my comps for the other guys in this class. Like the best I can come up with for Michael Penix is like a less mobile prime Russell Wilson. Like the arm.
You like his deep ball that much?
Yeah, I really do. Like the arm reminds, and maybe you can kind of help me with this, Taylor, kind of bridge this. Like the pocket, like the way he adjusts within the pocket, I hate to, he moves well within the pocket like some guys you see like a Joe Burrow, right? Where Joe Burrow's not mobile, but he'll move around. But then the arm talent, and maybe it's the size too. He's a little on the smaller side at 6'3". Like the arm talent reminds me of Russell Wilson, where he just slings that thing. And even on the short throws, the accuracy, the zip on the ball, he can use that to make plays as well. So there's a little bit of Joe Burrow, a little bit of Russell Wilson, but I don't know. I have trouble maybe between all that. And I'm talking ceiling here. I'm not saying he's going to automatically come out and be this guy. Maybe putting those two together, you can think of a name, but I'm kind of lost on a guy for Michael Penix because I think his skill set's really unique.
I would say I said Dak, and now I kind of like that just because
I think he's more accurate than Dak.
Okay. And that's the thing. I feel like that's where that's what I was going to say. Like when Dak is at his best, like I'm thinking like Dak against the Patriots a couple years back where like, was he perfect? No, but he's putting it on guys. And like, he's being that guy where he's a distributor who also has just enough physical ability to make plays. And I feel like in terms of like him being able to be a bit of a commander before the snap, I'm not sure that he's there quite yet, but if it's a 24-year-old guy, he's got experience, he's more mature. I feel like that's a slot where you can put him in. Now, again, you're the expert. I haven't done my, deep film dives or anything. That's why I got you, buddy. But I do see him in a similar vein. Mm-hmm.
It is still early. Like there is still, he's going to, so you talk about the game this week, Arizona State. I don't think Arizona State's fine. He should carve them up. If he doesn't, I'm going to be worried. Mm-hmm. He's got Utah in 2 weeks, and Utah runs as complex a defense you'll find outside of the SEC in college football. That is a borderline NFL kind of defense stylistically. We'll get to what they've done to Caleb Williams the last 2 years. They haven't been polite to Caleb Williams. We'll put it that way. So like, let's see what he does to them. That's the next step. Somebody in the chat said a better Tyrod Taylor. Not quite. He's not nearly as mobile and has a much better arm. He's a tough player to nail down. Honestly, maybe this is lazy because they're both Washington guys. And this is a real stretch. Like, again, this is how far I have to go to find a comp. What Jake Locker was supposed to be.
Wow. Okay.
Which was this guy that was like, yeah, he's going to sling the ball around the yard. He's going to move around when he needs to, but he's really just going to kind of stress you down the field. And he's still going to be accurate enough in the short and intermediate game to pick you apart if you put too many assets on the back end. That's kind of like, there's a lot of quarterbacks that do that, but oddly enough, it's a lot of mobile quarterbacks. He's doesn't quite have that mobility, but yeah, more like I guess like a pocket Russell Wilson would be how I still keep coming back to that. Pocket Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I feel like just bottom line, like Penix is one of the draft is always a gamble. So I think that he's probably one of the safer prospects.
With the busy fall season already in swing, you might be looking for wholesome, convenient meals for jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, can help you fuel up fast with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. Too busy this fall to cook? But want to make sure you're eating well? With Factor, skip the extra trip to the grocery store and the chopping, prepping, and cleaning up too, while still getting the flavor and nutritional quality you need. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are ready in just 2 minutes. So all you have to do is heat and enjoy, then get back to crushing your goals. Looking for calorie-conscious options during the busy season? Try the delicious dietitian-approved Calorie Smart meals with around less than 550 calories per serving. This September, get Factor and enjoy eating well without the hassle. Simply choose your meals and enjoy fresh, flavor-packed meals delivered to your door. Ready in just 2 minutes. No prep, no mess. Head to factormeals.com/PressPass50 and use code PressPass50 to get 50% off. That's code PressPass50 at factormeals.com/PressPass50 to get 50% off. Ever wish you could navigate the betting field with the confidence of a pro? Enter Odds Are. They're not a sports book, but they're the sports betting advisor you've always needed. It's like having a playbook for smarter bets right in your pocket. I've been absolutely loving the experience, and I think you will too. Especially since Patriots Press Pass listeners get a 30-day free trial. Elevate your game day and join the smart betting revolution. Go get it at oddsr.com/presspass. That's oddsr.com/presspass.